Making decisions in our lives, whether it's what to eat for lunch or where to find your next job, can seem overwhelming. And this is true of anything in our lives, any decision we make. But when we're dealing with grief, it can be even more overwhelming. So that's why I'm talking about making decisions specifically in terms of grief. So you can take this video and apply it to anything in your life. But I specifically did want to mention it in this context because it's so much more overwhelming when we're dealing with grief. So each decision carries with it a result in a chain of events that may dictate the course of our lives. When we're dealing with grief, then the decisions we make may seem like a life or death decision. Even little day-to-day decisions can seem impossible. So to help you discover finer points of decision making, I'm going to give you some tips on how you can make decisions that you can live with every day. Map out your decision. Start by evaluating the decision to be made. What are the details? By mapping out exactly what you're trying to determine will entail the consequences and the results that you'll be making on your way. And that will help you to make that decision in an informed manner and be able to live with what it is you come up with. You also want to weigh the pros and cons. Now, this process is tried and true. Make a list and evaluate the pros in one column against the cons in another. You want to include short and long-term consequences as well as anything you can think of that's positive and or negative. Write it all down. Seeing the pros and cons before you on the paper will make the matter seem more evident as far as how you should make your decision. Now, in your evaluation, give more weight to the pros and cons that carry more weight in your life. And your life is individual as opposed to everybody else. So what you give a strong weight to may not be the same thing that I would give a strong weight to. The quantity of pros or cons does not equal the quality. So you could have one of your main priorities being to make more money, and listing make more money on your pros column should count for more than one of the cons in the other column. So if you have more pros, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. If you have more cons, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. If all of your pros are little things and you have a major con, that may make you come up with a decision differently than if your pros and cons were weighted the same. Become informed. Find out all of the related information that you need to make your decision. Being better informed through research or talking to others will help you make a decision that you can live with. Consider your motives. While evaluating your list of pros and cons, consider what motives may be contributing to the points you added in both columns. Revise or weigh accordingly. So, for example, can the con on your list be attributed to your lifelong fear, or is it merely situational? In the case of fears, maybe facing your fears should be part of the decision. Facing the fear may be a pro as opposed to the fear being a con. Give yourself a deadline. When faced with an important decision, we a lot of times delay making the final choice. But by giving yourself a deadline, you won't have any other choice but to decide one way or another. Look at the decision as part of the bigger picture. Is this a small or a large decision in the course of your life? Decide which and evaluate accordingly. If it's something small, maybe you're spending too much time and consideration on it now. If it's a larger decision, how will it fit in with the rest of your life goals? Examine the decision for what it is in the short and long term, and you will better understand how that decision affects the bigger picture of your life. Recognize the relativity. Many tough decisions can carry irrevocable consequences, but more often than not, there's always more time and more opportunity to make the decision again if you make a wrong one. We worry constantly, but needless worrying about one decision in your life is futile. The vast majority of decisions we make only determine our short-term circumstances in the relative present moment. In most cases, the decision you make can be altered in the future when you're in different circumstances or a different stage of your life. Now, following these tips can transform decision making from a stressful process into a process that gives you more confidence and control in your life. And again, this can be in regards to any decision that you're making for anything, but it's really critical when you're making decisions at a point of grief, because we're really stressed out during grief and we're really not thinking necessarily about the present moment other than the loss that we've experienced. So any little bit of control that you can get back in your life is a good thing. And it can be a good thing to embrace decisions. And doing that, embracing decisions as a good thing, will result in a more happier and more confident you, which will help you in your grieving process. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up for more content and to hit the subscribe button to never miss an update. Stay updated on exclusive offers, insider tips, and behind-the-scenes stories by subscribing to one or more of my newsletters. And I love hearing from you, so drop a comment below with your thoughts, suggestions, or questions.